welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Ella Rifkin, and today we have a phenomenal guest with us, someone who knows how to transform businesses and lives. So please help me to welcome Greg Tsirulnik, a motivational speaker, empowerment coach, a Theta Healing practitioner, writer, an individual who wears many hats with a pride and a grace. Greg's passion for personal development and his ability to connect with people on a deep level makes him a beacon of inspiration and empowerment. It's an honor to have Greg among of us, and I am confident that his presence will ignite the spark of motivation and empowerment in each of us. It's an honor to have you, Greg, here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Before we have a very interesting topic today to discuss. The topic is rich versus poor mindset. And before we're going to dive into the topic, if you can just tell a little bit about yourself and your whole journey, if you can just share it with our viewers.
Sure. So, nearly 8 years ago, I found myself navigating a challenging chapter in my life. I had a lot of mental storms brewing within myself, propelling me in what felt like an infinite abyss of problems and roadblocks. So I too had the wrong mindset of rich versus poor, living in financial abundance, but consistently chasing that elusive happiness that every one of us wants. And so at one point, I felt like I was falling into abyss. And not only did I feel that way mentally, I actually manifested that reality physically. Long story short, I ended up finding my true calling as a result, bringing myself back from a lot of physical injuries as a result of my fall, discovering empowerment meditation, which is a routine that I have created based on meditation, based on tapping, and a number of different physical routines. Became a Theta Healing practitioner, certified coach, and speaker. And today I am here with you, and it's an honor to be here, as always, to work alongside of someone like Miss Ella Rifkin. And so I just welcome your questions and hope that we can dive into some juicy material.
Yes, wow, wonderful. Thank you so much. What a fascinating story. And I can actually relate to your story so much as well, because I went through this personal self-discovery journey myself. For me, it started at the same time as yours 8 years ago. And I feel very connected because everything that you just mentioned, I went through the same experiences. And it's very interesting because at some point you used to coach me as well.
I did, and we had some good times together.
Yes, and we certainly did. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, you helped me to unpack a lot of baggage, and you helped me to transform my life. So to which I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. And this is, I think that this subject that we're going to be discussing today, it's very dear to my heart, and I think it resonates a lot with business owners, any individual. It's the rich versus poor mindset. I actually caught myself 8 years ago when I started this whole self-discovery journey. I caught myself on this thinking of like how I was looking for happiness, how I was constantly in search of that happiness. And, like feeling like, okay, when I'll have this, I'll be happy. When I have that, I'll be happy. So like it was all conditional. And that was like one of the biggest challenges when I started experiences. And once I started realizing that, it helped me so much to transform my life. So I would like to hear your point of view on that. Like what is it truly happiness? Because there is I think it's such a big meaning, and everyone perceives it in a different ways.
Sure. Well, I think that in many ways, We all go through something like that, right? And um, it's not about a mindset it's basically is a mindset that shapes our lives in more ways than we realize. The mindset of wealth and poverty is not just about money in our pockets. It's about the richness or poverty of our thoughts, our dreams, and our action. There's a misconception that wealth is measured only by material possessions. But true wealth goes beyond that. It's a state of mind, a mindset that embraces abundance, gratitude, and generosity. It's about seeing possibilities where others see obstacles, and it's about understanding that our worth is not defined by our bank accounts, but by our character and our impact on the world. On the other hand, the poverty mindset is a trap that keeps us stuck in a cycle of lack and limitation. It's the belief that we're not enough, that there is never enough to go around, and that success is reserved for select few. It's a mindset that breeds fear, envy, and resentment, holding us back from reaching our full potential. But, here's the thing. Our mindset is not set in stone. We have the power to change it, to shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance, from poverty to wealth. It starts with gratitude, with recognizing and appreciating the blessings we already have in our lives. When we focus on what we have instead of what we lack, we open ourselves up to more opportunities and more blessings. It also requires us to embrace a mindset of growth and learning, which I believe you have mastered. Instead of seeing failure as a sign of inadequacy, we should see it as a stepping stone to success. Every setback is a lesson. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser. Finally, true wealth is not about hoarding our riches, but about sharing them with others. It's about lifting each other up, supporting one another on our journey to ultimate success. When we give freely and generously, we create a ripple effect of kindness and abundance that benefits all of us. So I urge you to examine your mindset, to ask yourself, are you approaching life with a mindset of wealth, or are you trapped in the mindset of poverty? True wealth is not about what you have, but about what you are, and how you choose to live your life.
Wow, that's so beautifully said. I absolutely love that. And it's now like you're mentioning that, and that's exactly kind of what I started experiencing 8 years ago when I was going through this transformational stage in my life. Because like for me, it was all conditional. Like coming back from the being an immigrant, not having any money, from the broken family. Like my definition of happiness is that I need to be successful, I need to have lots of money, I need to, and then it was all conditional for me. Like when I make this amount of much money, then I'll be happy. When I buy this house, I'll be happy. When I get this car, I'll be happy. So everything was conditional. And I absolutely love how you mentioned that the true wealth is not measured in numbers. It's not measured in money. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And it's interesting because like now that I am this whole mindset and this spirituality, it's interesting like how like now I understand the difference between like like the rich and the wealthy, and that like the saying of that the wealth is measured in time, not actually in money.
Right.
So it's yeah.
Well, the thing is that a lot of people look to, their happiness or looking for happiness, thinking in similar ways that you've just described. If only, right? And whatever comes after that is, if only I have a new car, if only I lived in a bigger house, if only I made that much more money, if only I got this promotion, if only I got this and that and that. It's all about having, right? But the truth is, there is no completion in life, right? There's always something. There's always that next level, right? And so when we are seeking it, when we are running after it, right, there's always going to be something. And I encourage people not to run after happiness. I encourage you to attract it by being in the present moment, right? By being grateful for that which you already have. Because think about it. We graduate from school, right? We go to college, right? If only I had that degree. And then you get that degree and say, if only I had that job. And then you get that job, if only I made more money. If I only made more money and then I got that promotion. And then if only I met that girl or guy and got married. If only I have this house. And it's just a never-ending story, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
how do you get to that point, right? Of
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I love how you mentioned attract happiness. Is I remember this saying from the book Secret that talks about law of attraction, law of the universe. And I remember this very powerful saying that it says, money doesn't bring happiness, but happiness brings money.
correct, right? Who is it that said that? I think Les Brown said, "Happy is not money is not everything, but it's up there with oxygen."
That's, yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So then let me ask you this question. So then what we actually discussed right now and like everything that you just mentioned, like, like how we, instead of like searching and going after this happiness and feel like thinking that it's all conditional, and then how we, like in a different way we can attract, and the gratitude and all these things that you just mentioned. But then yet, what do you think, like why do you think that yet so many people are still in search of that happiness through money?
Um, Preconditioned through societal norms, right? So social pressures have a lot to do with it. And when we started as people, right, as society, when we started to embrace the social media aspect of it, it started this silent revolution, right, of peer pressure. Because think about it, most people don't post negative things on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They post their successes, right? And in reality, it doesn't make them successful. They just cherry pick these moments because they want to project, right, the appearance of success. Why do they want that? Because they want to swim in that. They want to attract it to themselves as well. Because someone else posted, "Oh, I just got a new car," right? And we're human beings. It eats away at us a little bit. Maybe not jealousy, maybe it's envy, right? And so we want to join that parade. We want to join that party. So we end up posting something of our own, right? But how do you get to that point? It's like a competition. Oh, this one posted that they went to Belize or Dubai or here or there. So naturally, you want to do the same. So you squeeze that every little dollar that you have. You max out your credit cards. You normally you go and do things that you normally wouldn't do, right? And so we continuously chase that, and unfortunately, it becomes the new norm, right? Where social media and the pressures of society unfortunately create these pressures that if you are not here, if you are not projecting that certain image of yourself, then you're not successful. And what's the top three things that people look for outside of happiness?
Well, they're looking for health, they're looking for love, right? The like relationship connection,
They're looking for acceptance,
acceptance. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because
Okay.
if they are accepted in the circle, right? If people see them for who they want to be, right? Then that brings a certain level of happiness. In business, And I'm sure you've heard this from, especially from people like Grant Cardone. If you want to level up, hang out with people that are already at that level, right? So you pull yourself up to that. Because if you're hanging out with people that are on the same level as you always remain at that level, right? But if you
Yes.
want to go up, you need to be in the company of people that have made it to that level.
Yes.
And so what happens when you get there? You now want to go a level higher, which means
Level higher. Yeah.
you 10x it, right? Over and
Yeah.
over and over again. When is enough
Yeah.
enough?
Well, okay, I completely agree with you. But then on the other hand, it's again going back, to the reasons why do you wanna be around the people that on a higher level? Because if you don't, then you kind of, you kind of not growing. And so then how do you find that balance then?
I think finding a balance starts with identifying what is it that you actually want in life,
Yes.
right? If you just want money, then you will potentially live a financially abundant life having that scarcity mentality, right? Why? Because you don't see it being enough. You continuously look for ways to make more money, right? But what about time? You can make more money. You can't make more time. Time is consistently fleeting, right? I think at a certain point, you and I both realize that there's nothing more precious than spending the time in a way that you want, with people that you want, doing the things that you love. And no money in the world can buy you that type of happiness, but money is a vehicle, right? It's the means, it's the tool to get there. So it's a
Yeah.
catch 22, really, right?
It is, yeah, yeah, and I totally agree with you because, like, on one hand, I totally get it, and I kind of had the same feeling, and I loved how you said that about, like, with the way, like, Grant says, okay, you bring yourself to the next level. Once you get to this level, then you look for the people higher. So, but then if you're talking about money, then yes, it kind of, like, then you constantly have that feeling of not enough, and I've been through this. But then on the other hand, and this is what I kind of noticed from my experience is like once I'm not even talking about money. Once you get like in your mindset to that different level, and it's not like that the people that you used to grow up with and you used to be friends with communicating, it's not that they're not good enough, but then you kind of wanna create a new community for yourself because you want to expand, right, beyond what you already learned, right?
Sure, of course.
So it's
But
not
what?
just about money, it's about growing spiritually. That's the word that I was looking for.
Well, my friend, when you get to that point where spiritual growth is more important than financial growth, that's a whole other level, right? Because then your priorities change.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of what I started discovering is because I didn't change, but like you said, my priorities changed. And listen, I deeply love all my friends and I'm still in my community with my friends. But then yet, like you mentioned, the priorities, a lot of them, unfortunately, they're like so busy on day to day taking care of their families, businesses, whatever it is. But then if your priorities change and then you can do something more giving back to the community, right? So then and you have that extra time to give it to the community.
Right. Absolutely.
So that,
But that's how you evolve as a human being, right?
yeah,
Because we're all spiritual beings going through this human experience, and where our priorities start is maybe chasing that higher compensation, making more money, right? But ultimately, that's the means to get to your spiritual level. Because once you realize that nothing is going to be as rewarding as being a part of your soul, family, then you can use that money to spread it. And that's what I kind of was alluding to when I said previously, sharing that with others. a tidbit for thought. Um, when you feel extremely happy, right? Something happens, whether you want a contract, help another human being, whatever that is, reach that milestone. What do you usually tend to do?
You want to
Besides,
share with others.
right, besides celebrating, you want to share with others. So you either
Yeah,
call your significant other, maybe your children, your parents, your friends, and you tell them about it.
yeah.
Why do we do that?
Well, because that's what makes us happy. Because we have so much happiness in ourselves that we wanna share that happiness with others. So we wanna bring others into our happiness.
Right, because when you do that, you grow it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You expand on that happiness.
You
Yeah,
expand because human beings by nature have a limitation,
yeah,
right? Well, there's only so much we can hold within. And so you share that energy, and by doing that, you grow that happiness, right? Because now you're excited, and you would hope that people that you share that with are excited and happy for you, so you multiply it, and you multiply it, and you multiply it. Same thing happens when you are unfortunately upset, when you sad, it's too heavy. So you tend to share that with others too to lighten the burden. So if you want to make more money, share the wealth.
that's it. I love the way you said it. Yes, share the wealth. And yeah, so okay, so now talking a little bit more about having more money and sharing the wealth. So you just mentioned, and I love that example when you mentioned like when you're happy, like what do you do, like how you bring others into this happiness. So now switching gears of sharing the wealth. So how can then we do the same thing in sharing the wealth, like attracting that wealth to us? So this way it expands and then we can bring others into that as well.
You educate them, right? You mentor them, you coach them, you give them different tips and tricks and how, because you've succeeded, right? You've gotten to a particular level, right? Now you want to grow that. So
All right.
the goal of a coach is not to create followers. The goal of a coach is to create other coaches, right? Because then you casting that stone into the water and creating infinite amount of ripples outwards, right? And so you are a financial genius, right? And so if I need any financial advice, I know who to come to because in my circle of friends and personal acquaintances and professionals, I know that Ella is the person to do that with, right? Because you have created that not just wealth financially, but abundance of information and experience. Part of the reason why I do what I do is because I want to coach others in doing just that, so they become more enlightened and more spiritual and happier in what they do. So from the point of view of growing finances, yes, you can offer more coaching sessions and it'll trickle in, but teach them what's that phrase? Teach a man to fish.
Teach them how to fish, exactly. Instead of fishing it for them, teach
Yeah.
them how to fish.
Give a man a
Okay,
fish.
that's awesome. But what about what about if we'll just take like a regular business owner, regular person who is not aware yet that this is what they need to be doing? Like how, like what do you think? Like what needs to happen for the for this switch to have for this switch to click?
I think one of the most important things, especially in the beginning, is to identify their why. Why do they want to do the things that they want to do? What is it that they're looking to accomplish? What's the goal that they're looking to achieve? Right? Because if you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you get there? Right? So same as if you get into the car, right? And you know that you need to go to, some address. You have never been there. Just like this businessman never been to where they want to go. You plug in the address, you type it into your GPS, right? And then it takes you where you need to go. Same thing happens with a coach, whether it's a business coach, spiritual coach, or whatever. You want to get to a destination, but you don't know how to get there. So you need to lay out a blueprint. Here's the best way to get there. It may take you a couple of U-turns and maybe some detours, but ultimately that's the destination. And then you work in reverse. You don't have to know everything day one, but you do have to take steps to get there, right? So if a businessman has this goal that, today their business is $1 million and they want to get to $5 million, great. What products do you sell? What services do you offer? How much do you charge for that? So in order for you to get to that next level, how much more of that product or service do you need to sell? And that multiplies into how many hours, how much production, how many people, right? So on and so on and so forth, until you get to a point of this is your plan of how to get there, and these are the steps that you need to take. It sounds easy, but it's not. If it was, everyone would have done it.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's interesting. Did you attend my workshop? Because you literally, you literally explained the whole journey that I explained in my workshops when I teach. And talking about easy, well, something that I experienced personally and something that I see that our clients experience in businesses is that yes, like you set the journey, you have the destination, you start driving, but then you start pivoting to the sides, and then instead of actually having that shortcut to the destination, you kind of taking a long road. Eventually we all get where we want to get, but then it just takes us years and years, painful years.
Exactly. That's why it's important to have, professionals at your side guiding you through it, coaching you through it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, listen, yes, it's a journey. It's all a lifetime journey, but we just need that guidance. So for someone to keep us on track on that journey. Yeah.
What is
Yeah,
it
and
that
you said it
what
well.
is it that you told me once before? Even the coaches need coaches.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, I love it. Yeah, yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is that it's not just the coaches that teach and coach and guide their clients or students or whatever you want to call them, right? It's the coaches that actually learn more through the process as well, because every scenario is different, every person is different, every point of view is different. So it's adjusting and reviewing and looking at it from a different point of view. So we learn from the people that we work with just as much as they learn from us.
Yeah, yeah, we learn from each other. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Interconnected.
This is a very interesting topic. I can go on and on about this. What are your thoughts on? I want to dive a little bit deeper on the relationship, and then particularly, I guess me as a woman and you as a male. So I'm like very powerful woman, and is that true that powerful, successful woman they perceived very intimidating when it comes to the male?
I think that at one point there used to be that perception, right? But we live in this, I mean, it's 2024, right? We have a vice president of the country, as a strong female. Like her or hate her. Not gonna talk politics. The reality of the matter is that, we have a VP, a female VP. There are many powerful female positions of power, many for powerful females in positions of power. So if you would have asked me years ago, I would have said that most people, men and women, can be potentially intimidated by a strong, financially independent, knowledgeable woman. Today, and I'll speak for myself, I'm not. I actually look to partner with these type of people because I'm interested in their journey, not because they're female, but because they're successful, because they've done something that has gotten them to that point, right? And people should embrace that, right? We should embrace our differences. We should learn from one another. And in a society where women have not traditionally been accepted or looked at as someone that can be successful, just because, she's of a different gender, um, I don't think that's fair. If it wasn't for a woman, the entire race wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
So if that's not strength, I don't know what else is.
Yeah. Wow. Beautifully said. Yes. Thank you so much.
I speak the truth.
So now talking a little bit more about the power and the mindset. Like, what are your thoughts on, this scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset? Uh, like, how can people switch to that? Like, everyone talks about like this abundance mindset, versus scarcity. Like, how can people switch to that abundance mindset? Like, how can they train their mind to think in abundance?
So very small, tiny, tiny changes, right, in their behavior. So we are human beings. We're not human doings. So you can't do your way to change. You have to be different, right? You have to be a different human being to develop that. So there are neurons in our brain that fire in a certain sequence, and you know exactly where I'm going with that. Our dear friend Joe Dispenza, right? And so if you create different pathways and the different neurons fire together, right, then you get to experience a whole other reality, right? If you're passing on the street a homeless person and you start doubting what are they going to use the money for and start getting these negative thoughts and actually entertain them, right, then you will continue thinking that way. So if you want to change, do the opposite of what you have been doing, right? Introduce small changes into your reality, right? It's not just I have $5 in my pocket. I have $5 in my pocket, and there's more where they came from, right? It's having the gratitude for the everyday little things. Getting up in the morning and just being grateful for whatever comes, right? Um, I personally do this one thing. It's my own little thing which accomplishes for me a lot of things at the same time. On a day where I feel off, and I mean like you get up in the morning, it's about 6:30, 5 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, and I already feel like a little off. We all deserve an off day, right? I have this method of boosting my own mood and sharing my wealth with others. I will go out of my way to pass through a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through, right? And it doesn't matter, it could be a cup of coffee that I get. But the purpose of that is I pay for the car behind me. And I don't hang around to wait for, a thank you or whatever. I do it because that signals me on a mental level that I did something for someone else, which means I have the means to do it. Right? So I just pick it up. It doesn't matter whether they're getting a home meal or just a cup of coffee. It doesn't matter. I drive up, I pick up a cup of coffee for me, maybe a little sandwich, just depends on how I feel. Right? And I say, I would like to pay for the car behind me. Right? And usually what they'll ask me is, what would you like me to tell them? I said, tell them to have a wonderful day, right? And pay it forward. And I leave. I just continue driving. Sometimes they'll catch up. Most of the time they don't. But it's that inner knowing that I did something for someone else without expecting anything in return. Why? Not for social media credit or for any other reason, but to share the very little that I may have. Because if I did that, that means I have more,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so you shift from this scarcity, well, I don't have enough to buy that, to I have more, where that came from.
Yes. Wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Yes. I have more. And yeah, you do more for others and you put others. And yeah, but it's interesting doing more for others than we do for ourselves. Why is that? why is that like that? Because in reality, like we'll put others before ourselves, and then that's something that actually makes us happy. Why do you think is that like that?
Same, in my opinion, for same reason that you share happiness with somebody else to grow, right? So for multiple reasons. Service to others is the rent we pay on this earth, right? When you do something kind for someone else, a random act of kindness without expecting anything in return, through the law of attraction, it comes back to you. And it comes back to you in ways that you couldn't possibly imagine, right? And so a couple of times people have actually caught up to me. Maybe I didn't make that light and I was forced to stay at the red light and they caught up to me. And, this one woman, she made me very, very emotional. Um, she came up to me, we were standing on red light, and she said, I was having a really, really bad day. And I asked God to give me a sign. I pulled up to Dunkin' Donuts like any other day, and the woman at the window said, the guy in front of you paid. Pass it forward. And she took that as a sign. Call it divine intervention, call it, you know, a sign or whatever you may want to call it. To me, that is what happiness is about. You can't really substitute that type of natural high when another human being's life in the most simplest $5, cup of coffee way made a whole lot of difference for her in that moment on that day. That's the difference. So why do we do the things that we do? Because I think at the root of it all, we are pre-programmed, to need each other in some shape or form, right? To be a part of this human family, right? To connect because we are connected, and belong and be accepted, just as we are, naked and afraid, and sometimes, all messed up. You know, um, I came up with this phrase as I was writing my affirmations a couple of weeks ago, and it just kind of stuck with me. Love flows through me, from me, and to me, and that is enough. So
Yeah.
when you hear that, what does that mean to you?
What it means to me? Well, it means to me that you have so much love that you share it with others, and then others, those that you share with, it expands so much that it comes back to you.
That in many ways that is exactly what that is, right? That is my interpretation of law of attraction because unconditional love flows through me and then I send it out and it comes back. So you can substitute easily love with, good intentions or positive energy or, you know, um, gratitude, whatever you want to substitute that with, right? And it'll still have the same meaning. Flows through
Yeah,
you, from you, and back to you.
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. I'll tell you that. I remember when I was a child, maybe you experienced that as well. I remember, like, when my mom, it was would be her birthday, and I was like, okay, like, what do you want for your birthday? And then she would tell me, that I just want you to be happy. Like back then, as a kid, I was like, okay, it's like, like for me, I didn't understand that. Okay, like I didn't have money, but it was like some kind of like a physical, tangible thing that I need to give to her for her birthday. So I didn't understand that concept back then. So now that you're talking about this, it's very interesting because like whenever my kids talk to me, like, what do you want? And my response is, I want you to be happy because in reality, when they happy,
You're
that
happy.
happiness comes back to me. That's it. Like I feel so full and so happy. That's it. Like like there is nothing else that I need. I feel complete.
So let's experiment. Substitute the word love in that phrase with money.
With money. Okay.
Money flows through me,
Yes.
from me, and
Yes.
and to me.
Okay. Okay. So money flows from me
And to me.
and to me. Yeah.
So
Wow.
you want to grow your financial abundance? Give it away, it will come back.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you want to give it away, I'll give you my personal bank account.
And like about giving away, I'm like so much into all of this, besides just teaching and sharing all my knowledge. I do a lot of different charities, and it's interesting, like, now that you mentioned about giving away, I'll just share a little personal story that happened to me in December. So I wanted, actually, I said, in my mind, I kind of made a pledge that I wanted to give certain amount of money before the end of the year, but I didn't do that. What It was not even the reason that I didn't have the money. It's just like I was so busy with whatever was going on, like it just didn't happen. And it's interesting, like we're talking about, like, law of attraction, the law of universe, all of this, how it all works. Because what happened is, so I did some of the investments and it didn't work out and the money was gone. And then, when I actually was going through this, the grief, as I would say, but then it's like kind of clicked in me. You know what? I was supposed to do the donation because I pledged to it. I didn't. And then, like, the universe kind of did it for me, if it makes sense.
Wow.
That's kind of how so it goes both ways. Coming in, and the same way, like, giving to someone and going out. So it just like kind of goes in this flow.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wow. It's very powerful. It's very powerful, like how with our mind we literally shape our life and our destiny.
Well, of course, because it's, through confirmation bias, you're going to be looking for things to prove yourself right or to prove yourself wrong, right? So you're emitting this level of energy, and like energy attracts like energy, right? That's which creates this whole circle we call the law of attraction. So if you think negatively, if you feel and think of, scarcity in your life, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, through confirmation bias, you will surely prove yourself right because you have unexpected bills, there will be some expenses, right? You may be affected at work in some shape or form. Maybe that promotion or raise will not go through, right? Your car will break down, whatever, right? Because you're expecting that. And as you know, universe will provide exactly what you are expecting. It doesn't know any
Yeah.
different. To it, there's no good or bad. Things just are, right?
Yes.
How do they become one or the other? We add our values to it.
Yeah.
To some people, $1 million may be, oh my God, that's a lot of money. To other people, I mean, like, oh, it's just $1 million.
So then let me ask you this. You did mention about when you have bad days, like what do you typically do to switch this around? So what do you do on day-to-day basis to keep that abundance mindset? Do you have like a special morning routine, daily routine? Like, what do you typically do
Sure.
to be always happy and positive as you are?
It's challenging to be always, happy and positive, and the reason for that is we cannot always control the circumstances and people around us, right? And they will do their very best to leave a mark, right? Whether they realize it or not. But I do have a routine. Every morning, I start with an attitude of gratitude. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday, and it doesn't matter what's going to happen today. The first thing that I do when I wake up, right? It's been a routine for more years than I can count, right? As soon as my feet touch the floor, I say thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Thank you, creator of all there is, for everything that's in my life, for everyone that's in my life, for the body, the mind, the air in my lungs, the rivers of blood running through my body, my ability to walk, although today it's been especially difficult, to all of the people that will challenge my beliefs today and push me to the next level, right? Especially the difficult people, right? Thank you for that. Because without those people, it will be boring and we wouldn't learn as much, right? I thank in advance for all of the experiences that I'm going to have today, right? And then the next thing I do is I take a breath through my nose while I close my eyes. I slowly exhale through my mouth, and I begin with my affirmations, right? I am abundant. Love flows through me, from me, and to me, right? Great sums of money are coming my way with ease. And I just begin this cycle, right, to go through all of that. I write continuously, every single day. I write and then I share that with others. I post it on social media, including my affirmations. And I will not exaggerate when I tell you that I get at least half a dozen responses on every social media channel that I post where people say, "You have read my mind. This is exactly what I needed today." So to me, it's not an affirmation of my genius, right? It's an affirmation that we all go through similar things, right? And it just takes one person to acknowledge and give other people the courage to acknowledge their own problems as well, right? And give them strength and power to say, I may be going through a bad moment. It may be a bad day, but it's certainly not a bad life. And this too shall
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah, and tomorrow is another day. We all go through the challenges, and one day is great, another there's some kind of challenge. But I love how you said is yes, thank you for these challenges, and I do kind of exactly the same thing. I try to, instead of reacting right away, trying to reflect and see what can I learn from that challenge. What message is in this challenge that I need to reflect on and to learn on.
Right. Why did you respond the way you responded to it? What triggered that response? Right? What is it that you're not content with? Right? And then if you do it this way or that way, what's the worst thing that can happen? Because it's the universe kind of gently guiding us, you know? At least that's my take on it.
No, that's beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. So, what about is there now we're talking about like these challenges you mentioned. So, and you did mention about like the challenging days that you have. But when you actually do face that challenge, so like what are the suggestions you would have for people like to pause, not to respond right away, to take a moment, wait another day? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Sure. So there's a reason why we all respond the way we respond, right? And then some people react, right? Which means that they process whatever's happening through their emotional system, through emotions, while other people respond. And that means that they're actually think through it, right? And so I encourage people not to respond. I'm sorry, not to react, but to respond, right? Take a moment, take a breather, take a step back, think through it. What's the worst thing that can happen, right? If this is the worst thing that can happen, are you comfortable with that outcome, right? If you mess up, what's the worst thing that can happen? You go back to the drawing board and try again, right? Anything that ends with money, in my opinion, is okay because it's not your personal health. You can make more money, right? There's always going to be a challenging situation in some shape or form. I believe that whenever we're faced with challenges, it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn something new. It's an opportunity to reflect on your inner self. Ask yourself, why am I being put into this situation, right? And what can I learn from this? How can I be a better person, a stronger person as a result of it, right? Maybe you've set some goals, and now you're in a territory that you feel uncomfortable in. Perhaps that situation is what gets you to that next level to achieve that goal. Because as a result of it, you need to learn something. You need to be a different person. You need to think in a different way. Maybe you need to reach out and ask for someone for help. Right? And so that's how I approach it. The reality of it is that there's a reason why we live among other human beings. Sometimes we're not meant to do things alone. And it's perfectly fine to reach out and ask for help. Realizing that you need assistance is not a weakness, but actually a very big strength.
Yes.
You know, as you said, coaches need coaches, right?
Yeah.
The most successful NBA player has a coach.
I actually remember when I had my accident, and I remember when I reached out to my coach, and that's exactly what he told me. It's okay to ask for help.
100%.
I can go on, and before we wrap up, I want to just be mindful of your time. I actually have last question that I wanted to ask. So now that we spoke about the mindset, the difference between scarcity, abundance mindset, difference between poor and a wealthy mindset. So in your view, is anyone, any person can become wealthy and abundant? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that wealth and abundance has different meaning to different people, right? If we're talking about financial wealth and abundance, I think that with the right approach, a level of hunger, right, an open mind, anyone can reach a particular level of financial independence and abundance, right? So again, to some that may be millions of dollars, to others it may be just, having the ability to pay rent without thinking twice about it, right? And go food shopping. But I definitely do believe that with the right guidance, if the person is not financially literate, there is an opportunity for everyone to become financially independent in some shape or form.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Well, that's your point of view, yes. But I completely agree with you. As I mentioned, the saying is that wealth is not measured in money, it's measured in time. And for everyone, it's different. So for some people, being wealthy, it's maybe like having 100,000 earnings every year. For some, it might be like millions. So like for everyone, it's different. So it's whatever it is, it's for you personally. And I love how you even mentioned in the beginning is like how we impacted by the society, trying to catch up with others, trying to follow what others doing, and then that having that inside of us not being enough. But then once you distinguish, as you mentioned, once you distinguish what it is that enough for you, what it is that makes you happy, like, and how much you need financially, what is that number? Listen, that's your wealth. It doesn't have to be millions and millions of dollars.
Exactly, exactly. And you know what? You cannot experience all that you are until you understand all that you're not.
Wow, that's beautifully said. I need to write that down for myself. Love that. All right, I think that would be great end to our enlightening conversation today. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Greg. I truly appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us. It was amazing. So before we wrap this up, any final advice, or we're gonna leave on that note?
Final advice. Well, the only thing that's constant in our life is change. So be open to change.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us. And
Always
I'll
a
leave
pleasure.
you information in the comments for those viewers that would like to learn more about what Greg does, or maybe even have Greg as their coach and a mentor. So I'll share the information in the comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.